Today, we're diving into the world of Ajwain, or carom, a herb that's about to become your new kitchen favorite. It's got an incredible aroma, like thyme and oregano with a hint of citrus, and the flavor adds a warm, earthy depth to any dish. These easy tips for growing Ajwain will have you harvesting in no time. First off, let's talk seeds. Ajwain seeds are tiny but mighty. You can find them at your local Indian grocery or through online herb suppliers. They're not just for cooking. They're your ticket to an aromatic herb garden. Now, when you first see these little seeds, you might think, these little things are going to grow into something amazing. But trust me, they're like little powerhouses of flavor just waiting to burst forth. I like to think of them as tiny miracles, packed with the potential for fresh herbs right in your backyard. When you're choosing your seeds, you want to make sure they're fresh and good quality. A good sign is that they're plump and have a nice, even color. You can even give them a little sniff test. They should have that signature Ajwain aroma, kind of warm and earthy. Once you've got your seeds, it's time to find the perfect spot for them to grow. Because remember, a happy plant starts with a happy home. Location, location, location. Ajwain loves the sun, so choose a sunny spot in your garden where it can bask in at least 6 hours of sunlight daily. Remember, like all Mediterranean herbs, it thrives in well-drained soil. If your soil is heavy, mix in some sand or perlite to improve drainage. Now, Ajwain is a sun worshiper, just like us on a warm summer day. It really thrives in that warm sunshine, so when you're picking out a spot in your garden, make sure it gets plenty of direct sunlight. I'm talking at least 6 hours a day, but more is always better. Now, if you're in a particularly hot climate, a little bit of afternoon shade won't hurt. But for the most part, this herb loves to soak up those rays. The next thing you want to consider is drainage. Ajwain likes its soil light and airy, kind of like a good biscuit. If your soil is heavy or tends to hold water, you'll want to amend it with some sand or perlite. This will help the water drain away easily and prevent those roots from getting waterlogged. You can test your drainage by digging a small hole and filling it with water. If the water drains away within an hour or so, you're good to go. If not, you'll need to add some of those amendments we talked about. Before planting, enrich the soil with compost or well-rotted manure. Ajwain isn't too fussy, but it does appreciate a nutrient boost. Now scatter the seeds lightly on the surface and just cover them with a thin layer of soil. They need light to germinate. All right, now that you've found the perfect sunny spot with well-drained soil, it's time to give those Ajwain seeds a cozy bed to grow in. And just like we like to pamper ourselves with a little TLC, our plants appreciate a little extra love too. Before we plant those seeds, we're going to enrich the soil with some good old-fashioned compost or well-rotted manure. This is like giving our Ajwain a hearty breakfast to start their day. Compost and manure add essential nutrients to the soil, giving those little seeds the energy they need to sprout and grow strong. Now, when it comes to planting, Ajwain seeds like to be close to the surface. So, gently sprinkle those seeds onto the soil, and then just barely cover them with a light dusting of soil. We don't want to bury them too deep, or they'll have a hard time pushing through. Think of it like tucking your little ones into bed. Not too tight, just a nice cozy layer to keep them warm and protected. Patience, my friends. Germination can take about 7 to 14 days. Keep the soil moist but not soggy. Once you see those little green shoots, you're on your way to growing your own Ajwain. Now comes the hardest part, waiting. I know, patience isn't always easy, especially when you're excited to see those little sprouts pop up. But trust me, it's worth the wait. Ajwain seeds typically take about 7 to 14 days to germinate, depending on the temperature and moisture levels. During this time, it's important to keep the soil consistently moist, but not soaking wet. You want it to feel like a damp sponge, not a soggy mess. A good way to water is to use a gentle spray setting on your hose or a watering can with a fine rose. This will prevent the water from dislodging those tiny seeds. And then, one day, you'll go out to check on your little garden, and there they'll be, those tiny green shoots reaching for the sky. It's such a rewarding feeling to see your hard work paying off. Watering is key, but don't overdo it. Ajwain prefers dry conditions between watering. Aim for watering once the top inch of soil is dry. And here's a pro tip for container gardening. Ensure your pots have proper drainage holes to avoid root rot. Now that your Ajwain seedlings have sprouted, it's time to talk about watering. Just like us, plants need water to survive, but too much of a good thing can be harmful. Overwatering is one of the most common mistakes new gardeners make, and it can lead to root rot and other problems. The key with Ajwain is to let the soil dry out slightly between waterings. A good rule of thumb is to stick your finger about an inch into the soil. If it feels dry, it's time to water. If it still feels moist, hold off for another day or two. Now, if you're growing your Ajwain in containers, it's especially important to make sure those pots have good drainage. You don't want those roots sitting in water. A good way to improve drainage is to add a layer of gravel or broken pottery shards to the bottom of the pot before you add the soil. Remember, it's always better to underwater than overwater. Ajwain is a pretty drought-tolerant herb, so it can handle a little dryness. It's harvest time. Once your Ajwain plant is lush and green, start picking those flavorful leaves. Snip them with scissors for salads or garnishes. But the real gem? The seeds. Let the flowers bloom and dry for your own seed supply. Shake the dried flower heads over a cloth to collect them. There's nothing like snipping fresh herbs for your cooking. It's like bringing sunshine and fresh air into your kitchen. The best time to harvest is in the morning after the dew dries. This is when the essential oils are at their peak, giving the most flavor. Use sharp scissors or pruning shears, leaving a few inches of growth. Use the leaves fresh or dry them for later. Now, how do you use this herb? Ajwain is a star in Indian cuisine, perfect for enhancing flavors in bread, curries, and snacks. Its medicinal properties can help with digestion, making it a staple in many home remedies. Now that you've got a bounty of fresh Ajwain leaves and seeds, it's time to put them to good use. Ajwain is incredibly versatile and adds a unique depth of flavor to a wide range of dishes. In Indian cuisine, Ajwain is a staple spice, prized for its warm, earthy flavor and digestive properties. It's often used in lentil dishes, vegetable curries, and flatbreads like naan and paratha. The seeds are also a key ingredient in a popular Indian digestive aid called Ajwain water, which is made by simply steeping the seeds in hot water. But don't let its popularity in Indian cuisine limit your culinary creativity. Ajwain's unique flavor profile also lends itself beautifully to other cuisines. Try adding a pinch of crushed Ajwain seeds to your next batch of homemade crackers or breadsticks for a warm, savory kick. Or use the fresh leaves to add a bright, citrusy note to salads, soups, and stews. Ajwain is also delicious when paired with root vegetables like potatoes, carrots, and beets. Try roasting them with a drizzle of olive oil, a sprinkle of salt and pepper, and a generous pinch of crushed Ajwain seeds for a simple yet flavorful side dish. And don't forget about those medicinal benefits. Ajwain has been used for centuries in traditional medicine to aid digestion, relieve bloating, and soothe coughs. So not only is it delicious, but it's good for you too. There you have it, folks. With these easy steps, you can grow Ajwain, adding not just flavor, but health to your meals. So get out there, start your herb garden, and make Ajwain your new favorite herb. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more gardening tips for beginners. Got questions or want to show off your Ajwain? Drop a comment below. Until next time, keep your garden growing. Happy gardening!